see Kelly is already on, and Adrian. Oh my goodness, we're all here, like even early today. That's exciting. All right, if you guys have any particular requests or questions, shoot me a text, and that goes for anybody that maybe sees the stream after the fact. Feel free to text me and say, hey, I have a question about something, and I can always address it in the next class or directly to you. So I want this to be a resource. Sometimes it feels very one-directional because of the nature of not having the immediate feedback, but I want it to be useful to you. So it will be most useful to you when you ask me questions. Kelly says, my upset back is super tight this morning from computer work yesterday. Okay, I think she said meaning upper back. So when we're leaning over all day on the computer, which so many of us are having to do right now, it's this action, right? Hang on a second. Okay, guys, do you have, sorry, stop! Oh no! Okay, if you have a broomstick, try to do that, or a corner. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna let you know. All right, so the broomstick one, let's just do that again today if you have it by you. Now, what if you don't have a broomstick? Just make your chest really wide and hold your arms out as if you had a broomstick. I've got something strange going on in this right here. I don't even know. I guess it's the tricep or something. And I've been feeling it coming on for a couple of weeks from a stretch that I did, but it seems to be increasing. Sometimes, if you just feel like the edge of something, it's not an injury, but it's a movement. In other words, your body is changing, and so you're getting a little bit more range of motion from the yoga, and like it may talk to you for several weeks. You do want to be careful because it can turn to an injury because it may be on the edge. But eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to go back into some stretch, and that will probably release, and I will have a new range of motion. So muscles are funny things in our life. So today I'm really watching that, and I might decide not to go all the way back or have my hands way out, bend my elbows to come down. And I'm bending my elbows because I'm watching that spot, but then somewhere up near the top, there's the edge of a stretch. I don't know, for me today, it feels like some shoulder rolls and child's pose would be a good warm up for that. We can do child's pose in our sun salutes and maybe pause for a minute, especially during the bees. And when we go into child's pose, instead of downward facing dog, then have your block in front of you. So pretend I'm in child's pose. And right now my elbows are out this way. So I'm going to bring my elbows in while I'm still holding on to the block. So it's that counter pose, right? Where the top goes away, but then the bottom part of the arm comes in. And so it creates this outward spiral and then this inward spiral. So in child's pose, you might have a block handy, and we'll do some of that during the sun salutes. So we don't have a lot of time to get in a lot of yoga. An hour isn't all that much when you include our Shavasana at the end. So let's go ahead and just, I don't know, I'm feeling your stress. It's right around the bra strap. I think I'm feeling it maybe a little higher or lower than that. And I think if you start a practice and you are already feeling tight, that sometimes that tightens up even more. So let's go ahead and go on our back and do our 3-part breath. We could also do the reach up and do the core work, but I feel like maybe today is just going into that Shavasana position and doing the 3-part breath. Just feel a relaxation through your entire body. And as you relax, maybe that will send a message to those extra tight muscles that you appreciate them. Just relax, trying to give them a break. Now let's take one big breath. Hold it and then exhale through the nose. Let's do another one. When I get to the top of that breath, it feels pretty good in my upper back. One more breath, big breath. Now breathe in as you bring your knees towards your chest. Inhale. And exhale, notice that we're in child's pose on our back. So work that out until you feel like your back feels kind of flat. Another inhale. And exhale. Inhale again. Check your shoulders. Are they tense? Is your neck tense? Try to release. And exhale there. One more inhale. And exhale. Now with your knees towards your chest, can you let them drop to the knees drop to the right while your upper body is on the ground? So I'm looking to the left, away from my knees. And big breath. Be here for 3 breaths. Big inhale. Try to release neck, shoulders, hips. Now inhale your knees back up to your chest, center. Exhale your knees to the left. Again, looking towards the right, but not so far that it hurts your neck. And just allowing that shoulder, it might be on the ground, it might be just going towards the ground. Inhale. And exhale. So this is a relaxed twist. And with those inhales and exhales, you might feel some release going somewhere in the spine. Maybe even in the upper back. Release the neck, the jaw. Another inhale. And exhale. I just got a little pop in my low back. That felt good. All right. And now we're going to inhale the knees back towards the chest, coming back to center. know about you, Kelly, but that helps me to feel a little bit more released in my spine. I'm just kind of wiggling a little bit. Maybe doing great big circles with the hips. So my knees are together, drawing a big circle. So they come in towards my chest, around, and back in. Breathing. Sometimes holding the sides of the mat could be good if you want to do a bigger circle and go the other direction. And these big knee circles might help you to wake up the core. One more big breath. And then put the soles of the feet on the ground, knees are up. Just a little windshield wiper action. Check the neck and jaw again. I'm holding the sides of the mat to stabilize so that there's not too much sidewards motion. And then on the next breath, we're just going to lean onto the side, push up with our hand, up into a seated position, and then into our all fours position. One more time, a little cat and cow. This can really feel good on that upper back, especially in the cat position. Wide in the cow position in your shoulders. Inhale, really round back. Finding that spot. Maybe you're going to stay in the cat for another breath instead of rotating if that's feeling good on that part of the back. I'm also feeling it in my hip where I need it. And cow. Let's go back into that child's pose position one more time. Elbows on the mat, not to the side of the mat. Maybe even rotating them a little bit closer and having the palms up. Big inhale and exhale. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale. Now before you do your next inhale, try to extend your arms a little straighter, and that will bring a stretch into the side body and maybe into the upper back. Pull the arm bones back into the shoulder sockets. Another inhale. And exhale. So a little retention breath at the top. And exhale. Let's do one more right there, feeling it in the shoulders and the upper back. And exhale. Look up without moving your hands. And then put your chin down towards, and just kind of like a big nod. See if that loosens anything in your shoulders. Inhale as you look up. Exhale as you look down. Let's do one more. Inhale, look towards the hands. Exhale, look towards the navel. Palms down again. See if you can put your elbows and your palms down as you come forward. You might feel that in your shoulders. So this is, I don't know, it has a name where your forearm is down, pushing your thumb and your first finger into the mat, pushing away with your forearm. This will bring strength into the shoulders. Trying to push your chest through a little bit. Now push up into your hands. Downward facing dog. All of this is a warm up for our sun salutes that are coming, and hopefully you're feeling more relaxed. Your nervous system
will cooperate in a relaxed state when you're doing your asana practice, more than if you're ramped up. Now, because we have done a lot of warm-up, we might not have to do so many sun salutes. Does that make sense? Because your sun salutes are actually the warm-up portion of your practice. Now, really cat back as you come forward. So a cat back, then step forward. Exhale, head down, shoulders back. Inhale, stand, look to your thumbs. So we could call all of that maybe the first couple of sun salutes. And Samastitihi. I'm already feeling more centered than I started. We're just going to take one Om, close the eyes. Exhale all of your air. And then inhale for Om. Down, and then this is just a continuation of what we've been doing as we inhale and look to the thumbs. And exhale, come down. Keep your eyes on your thumbs until they go to the mat. Inhale, look up, shoulders wide. Exhale, step back from your high plank to low plank. Paying attention to your baby cat back at the bottom of your back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, baby cat back as you go into downward facing dog. That connects your core. What I'm talking about, that baby cat back. Breathe. It's another cue. Baby cat back is a cue for Uddiyana Bandha. Keep breathing. The other thing sometimes I'll cue is ribs close to iliac crest. That's all the same cue. Uddiyana Bandha. Tuck the ribs. Baby cat back. All of those mean the same thing. Last breath. Now on your next inhale, look to your thumbs and then step to your thumbs, going through the baby cat back feeling. Exhale the head down. Inhale, watch your thumbs go all the way to the top. Exhale, Samastitihi as you watch your thumbs go down. Inhale, watch your thumbs go up. Exhale, watch your thumbs go down. Hands to the floor, head down. Now lifting the rainbow. Step back with that lifted rainbow feeling. Chaturanga. Still the baby cat back feeling. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the inhaling and exhaling going. Bring those elbows towards each other. Thumb and first finger in contact with the mat. Maybe feeling a little push away with the hands. Breathe again. Lift the tail, lower the heels. Last breath. And your inhale, come forward. Think rainbow as you bring your feet forward. Exhale the head down. Inhale, thumbs up, looking up. And Samastitihi. Let's go into a Surya Namaskar. Be bending the knees, watching the thumbs. Exhaling, looking down. Then inhale, looking up, keeping the gaze up as you step back. Chaturanga. Engaging the core. Inhale, upward facing dog, wide shoulders. Exhale, downward facing dog, stepping forward with the right. Rainbow. So when I mean rainbow, I'm talking about that shape of the back as it goes into a lift, lifting the legs as you step back. Upward facing dog on the inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog, stepping forward with the left. Rainbow. Inhale, look at the thumbs. Exhale, eyes on the thumbs still. Rainbow as you step back. Elbows in, upward facing Downward facing dog, 5 breaths. So cue your arms again. Breathing. See if you can get that little lift in the tail. For me, when I do that, I can feel a little hollow in the solar plexus. One more breath. And inhale, feel that rainbow back as you come forward. Exhale the head down. Inhale, bend the knees as you come up. Exhale, Samastiti. And again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step back. Chaturanga. Now, if that upper back is hurting, just take it easy on the chaturangas. Engage the core as you go into downward facing dog. Keep it engaged as you step forward. By engaging, I mean that feeling of lift. What I've been cueing is a rainbow feeling. Elbows in, looking up, stepping back, downward facing dog, then forward into the lunge. Lifting at the rainbow as you look up. Keep that lifting with the rainbow as you step back. Downward facing dog or child's pose if that's what feels right today. So if you're in downward facing dog, think about that rainbow feeling again. That's the same cue as lifting the tail. Don't lose the arms. On your next inhale, lift the rainbow as you bring your feet forward. Exhale. Bend the knees as you inhale. Follow the thumbs. Exhale, Samastiti. Padangusthasana. Feel that lift before going down. Maybe even taking your hands and tucking your low belly. Take your toes. Inhale, just bring your gaze up, your shoulders back. Exhale, head down. Come a little forward in the weight of your foot so that you're feeling it in the balls of your feet. Breathing. And you may have space to lift the tail away from, how can I explain it? So you don't bring your weight back in your foot, you just change the way your pelvis is in relationship to your legs. 5, inhale, just look up. Exhale, change your hand position, step on your hands. Inhale again, exhale the head down. So as you feel your feet pushing into your hands, it brings energy up the legs to the tailbone. And then you may feel that additional flipping over the clothesline feeling. Last breath. You might find you have just a little bit more range of motion on your last breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, stand. Exhale, Samastiti. Utthita Trikonasana. Stepping out, legs straight, and tipping over like a little teapot. You can take your toe, or hand could be
anywhere where it goes down and keeps your spine straight. So the goal here is not to have the hand to the ground. The goal is to have your spine straight. So that might be further up. And in fact, you might want to just try that and see how that feels. That changes how it feels in my hip, in my left hip. Inhale, come up. Pivot on the feet. Exhale, back down. Get in your 5 breaths in. Maybe try less of a, like come up a little bit and try that today. Just see how that feels on your body. Outside edges of the feet, awareness. Pinky side of the toe. 5, inhale, come on up. Pivot on the feet, reverse. So again, maybe today, see what that feels like to not go quite so far down. And what does that feel like in your hips? Can you extend your spine more if you're not as far down to the ground? Five, inhale up, pivot, exhale, back down. Breathing. Ashtanga is about learning your body. It's research. And trying the poses in different ways will teach you about your body. 5, inhale, come up. Exhale, feet together, Samasthiti. Stepping out again, extended side angle. This time, the front knee lunges. So again, maybe if you've been going all the way down, don't go down as far. Maybe if you haven't been going down, you go further and just try something different. Maybe today, if your back hurts, you don't extend. Or maybe extending feels really good. Keep breathing. So you're trying to find what's good for you today. Inhale, come up. Pivot. Exhale, back down. And 5, inhale up, pivot, and we're going to do the twisted version. Whatever version that means for you today. Five, second side. 5, and Samasthiti. Wide leg forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Up out of the pelvis before leaning forward, trying to keep that feeling of the clothesline, so that lifting of the rainbow position. Feeling the air, the breath in the pose. Five, inhale, straighten the arms, look up, exhale there, inhale, come all the way up, exhale the hands down, inhale, tee out the arms, exhale, hands on the hips or up on the ribs, opening the shoulders, inhale, up out of the pelvis, exhale, over the rainbow. Trying to bring your shoulder blades towards the spine, which also brings the elbows towards each other.
Maybe you have a sensation of the collarbones getting a stretch. Last breath. 5, inhale all the way up. Exhale the hands down. Inhale, tee out the arms. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back. Now bring the shoulder blades towards each other. Bring the elbows towards each other. Maybe this is as far as you go today. Maybe you're just working on that stretch. If you're going to go forward, up out of the pelvis, try to keep that shape. Don't lift them today. Just see how that feels today to just keep the palms together, keep the elbows working towards each other. The elbows are bent. Really widen the shoulders. Feel the head heavy. And that might feel different from when you try to straighten your arms and invert. In fact, I'm sure it does. Last breath. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the hands down. Inhale, just up out of the pelvis, and then the hands go to the toes, fingers wrapped around the toes. Inhale again, really try to find that space in the Uddiyana Bandha, and then let the head drop. So the fingers can pull up on the toes can push against the fingers. Notice how that creates strength in the shoulders, in the pecs, in the latissimus dorsi, but release the neck and the jaw. Pushing the feet down, pulling the toe up. Last breath. Inhale, part way up, look up, exhale there. Inhale, bring the hands up to the waist and Samasthiti. So again, maybe if the shoulders are bothering you, you do a little easier position where you just take the elbows, or you can try the reverse namaste, see how that feels. But really feel a wideness. You might decide not to tip over. If you want to, take that step. But don't compromise today this wideness for the forward fold. If you lose the wideness in the shoulders, why don't you come back up and get the wideness back? I find it very easy to lose the shoulders in the tipping forward motion here. It takes a lot of work to keep them. Inhale, come up. Notice the shoulders again. Are they wide? Do you feel the collarbone stretching? Exhale as you go down, keeping all of that action going in the shoulders. And 5, inhale, come up. Bring yourself into Samasthiti. Now, with that particular pose, we do the reverse namaste, and there is nothing else that we do in practice that I can think of that helps with the forearm like that does. So a lot of computer work, you always hear the carpal tunnel syndrome. It's that forearm, it's from being at the keyboard so much. That actually stretches in the reverse namaste. So if you didn't do the reverse namaste, maybe try that just a little bit, or during your work day, you might take a break and go, okay, I'm going to work those carpal tunnels to make sure that they are getting stimulation. So even if you don't bend over or whatever, this could be a good thing to try during your work day. Take that little break every hour and do something physical to help your body realign.
Okay, let's shake that out. Let's do, let's go to the ground and do a vinyasa. Dandasana. So this is where primary series begins. The other stuff that we were doing before Dandasana was no matter how long you do yoga or what series you're in, you always start with that. So primary series starts with Dandasana. Really widen the shoulders, chin is down, staff pose. So you're trying to make a staff out of your back. Feet are flexed. Back of the knees towards the ground, but the heels are not lifting off of the ground. Inhale, look up. I'm going to lift my ribs as I come forward. I'm going to tuck my lower belly as I come forward into this forward fold. Take the toes if you have that. If you're that far into the practice. Keeping the back straight, pulling the shoulder, the tops of the arm bones back into the shoulder socket. Keeping all of that stretch going. Stretch the spine up. 5, inhale, look up. Now change your hand position or just repeat, but just know that here's another 5 breaths. And because you've already held it once, your range of motion might be further. Backs of the knees into the mat, energy coming out the heels. So see if you can get the upper back to be sort of like upward facing dog, and the lower back to be a little bit like a baby cat back, but not collapsing. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. You can do a third one there. Really good to get in the habit of doing 3 and even a 4th one. All right, let's cross at the ankles. I'm going to skip Purvottanasana today. Lifting up, stepping back. So that reverse plank position. Just be very careful with your shoulders on that if you're going up. So I think for a long time I went up into that reverse plank and it made my shoulders worse. So sometimes it's good just to get the shoulders open on Purvottanasana. But let's skip that one today and go into our Ardha Baddha, Paschimottanasana. If you are doing the lotus, bring your right foot with the heel close to the navel and it comes along the joint of the hip and your knee is not so far out to the side, more towards the front with your heel over towards the side. So if you've got that and you just want to lift there, that's great. If you want to work on the bind, that's great. Just do what feels good for your body today. Again, remember that the bind is about allowing the chest to come forward. If the bind is binding you more, it might be too much until you open up more. 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Do a lift instead of the vinyasa. And the second side. So same thing. You're going to have the heel close to the navel, working along the hip joint, and then just opening that up. It may be just sitting tall, shoulders wide. Maybe you're going to bring your arm behind. It might just take your elbow, as my right hand is holding my foot carefully. that's helping me to open up my shoulders. Shoulder blades towards center. And 5. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Cross at the ankles. Cat back as you come forward. Lift and then bring the feet back. Trianjakapada. Taking your right foot, maybe you're sitting on a block and having the right foot bent, the right leg bent back. You're trying to get to a place where you can have both sits bones sitting on the ground. This takes a long time, in my opinion. At least it has in my body. If it's there, then you can come forward. You can use your hands kind of like pontoons to hold you straight. If it's easy, you can bring your hands around your foot. This pose is not one to rush. It can get the knee involved, and it just takes time to heal from injuries. Second side, maybe a little lift in between. Remind yourself that there is a vinyasa in the full practice. Maybe you're just feeling it on your body, deciding if you need a block, if you don't need a block, deciding how am I going to sit tall in this position. You want to sit tall before you take the forward fold. If the tall isn't there, the forward fold is not an extra step that helps. And 5. Inhale, look up. Release the pose. Just bring your right foot back. Roll over your knees and vinyasa. I've got all kinds of cracking going on my foot, my wrist. That's great. All right, here we go. Janu Shirshasana, taking the right foot, the inside of the left thigh, sitting tall, finding that length. Now, a lot of people have a little more range of motion in this one, and the forward fold is not so hard. But make sure, maybe you're tucking your belly. Make sure that the back is staying straight. If you have the range of motion, this is one where you can bind the wrists or just take the hands at the heel and pull the shoulders back into the sockets, upper arm bones into the shoulder socket. Release the neck, the jaw. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Let's do a lift. Second side. Bringing the foot into that same position. Sitting tall. This may feel quite different from the other one. Maybe tucking the tummy as you come forward. Or maybe a forward is not in your practice today. I feel this completely different in the bent leg. Much less strength on this side for me to be able to push my sole of my foot into the thigh. As I remember to do that, I know I'm engaging the right muscles. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose, cross at the ankles, cat back, lift, and then step back. All right, I'm going to skip Janu Shirshasana B, and C is the one where we're inverting. We're trying to have the toes down and the heels up. I want to talk just a little bit about the foot. I had a workshop about feet this past weekend, and let's just work the foot for a minute. I want to stretch all of my toes long in order to get more range of motion in the foot. So we don't think about the foot very often. It is the foundation of everything. You change something in the foot, you change something all the way up the chain of muscles in your body and your bones. So I've now stretched my toes long. Now I'm going to stretch them wide in between. So make a V between the big toe and the next toe. With that the same two toes, I'm going to take my big toe one direction and opposite direction, so like a walking position with my toes, and then once again the opposite direction. So at this point my big toe is coming towards the sole and my second toe is going away from the sole. And it maybe feels like a stretch on that webbing part between your toes. So now between the second and third toe, first straight apart like a V, and then the walking. So one is away from the sole of the foot, the other is towards the sole of the foot, and then the opposite. Now between my third toe and my fourth toe, the V, and then the walking stretch. I don't know if that makes sense. I just think of one forward, one back, kind of like when I'm walking, and then the other direction. And then between the pinky toe and the fourth toe, the V stretch, and both directions of the walking stretch. So you're trying to sort of pull them straight and then bend. So it's like you're trying to get to that bottom knuckle instead of just the top knuckle. Let's do that one more time where you're pulling at the base of the toes and then straightening the toes and maybe pulling them out and then forward. And can you feel the knuckle down in your foot? Like a few days ago, I couldn't find the knuckle that's down in the foot area, and after working for a few days, I'm starting to see that knuckle emerge. It means my bones have been kind of just crunching down into my foot. So let's do the second one. Pull the toes long. Just trying to pull them out of the base of the foot. Now doing the V stretch between the big toe and the second toe, and then the walking stretch. So one is forward, the other is back, and I feel a little, maybe a vague stinging feeling at the skin between the toes as I do this. So I do this day after day. That will just give me more range of motion, and the skin will not have that sensation so much. The next one, the V, and then the walking stretch. I don't know if walking is a good way of putting it. Now the next two, so I'm on my third and fourth toe, stretching them apart like a V, and then taking one down, the other up, and then switching, really trying to get those two toes stretched in between. And my last set, stretch my pinky toe out a little further, and then the other stretch, one down, one up, and reversing it. Okay, so we've really worked the toes. They're going to be flatter. Now let's take our pose. I'm going to turn this way. Spreading those toes. Put them down on the ground as much as they can, and your heel up as much as it can. And you might find that there's more space there. I don't know. There's more that we can do with the foot. I think I might do a video just of the foot and be able to have the camera in angles where you can see better. Let's just Leave that and take the second side, toes down, heels up. Can you sit tall and straight in this position? And breathe. Right foot, toes up, flexing that right foot while you work with your left foot. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Turn over into our chaturanga. Since we're on the feet, let's go to closing. I'm not sure what time it is, but I'm going to actually go to, I probably should not skip, in fact, let's not skip, it's so tempting. Let's not skip our bridge prep. So doing 3 bridge preps, bringing the knees close together, scooping out the stomach a little bit, tailbone towards the backs of the knees. That might be it. That might be the breathing at that point, or you might decide to lift. Squeeze the knees, release the glutes, scoopy on the stomach. Scoopy, it's somewhere between Scooby-Doo and Snoopy, I think. And exhale, release. Engage again. Scoop or bring the tailbone towards the backs of the knees. Bring the knees close together. If you're going up, inhale as you bring the low back off of the ground, keeping all of that going, releasing any glute that might be involved. We're trying to feel some engagement in the core. Squeeze the knees, scoopy. Exhale, one more. I'm going to wiggle my hips a little bit before I scoop again. Scoop out that stomach or rotate the tailbone to the back of the knees. And then inhale up, squeeze the knees. You can go up and down, up and down. It's another way of doing this. Keep the knees squeezing, keep the glutes loose, keep that position of the scoop, but up and down, to me, helps me engage better with the core muscles. Plus it's an exercise in keeping everything going. And release. Setting the blocks aside, bring up the knees to the chest. And then rock forward. Let's do a little forward fold. Flex the feet, backs of the knees, onto the ground, tucking in the low back for me, really reaching up and then forward. Finding length in the spine, maybe in the back of the neck. Shoulders are not forward, they are coming back away from the feet. And after a few breaths, you might find that you can go a little bit further. But again, keeping the shoulder blades going towards the spine. Or another cue, keeping the tops of the arms into the shoulder girdle. If your hands are against your feet, then it becomes a bind that helps you pull away with your shoulders. One more breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Vinyasa.
All right, come on through to your seated position. And then we're going to do legs up the imaginary wall, but we're going to work on our feet while we're doing that this time. So just lean back, bring your feet up. You're not going into shoulder stand today. And just point and flex your feet. Now, stay in that flex position and notice how that feels in the backs of the legs. Just breathe. See if you can flex the heels up without engaging your toes. Can you stretch your toes longer? Now with that stretch, release the front and start to point the foot, stretching the toes out as much as you can. Now I'm in a Barbie doll position we call Barbie foot. And then extend the toes up over and really point them. I feel this in the top of my ankle. Breathe. Now keep that point going and start to feel the heel that you're pointing still. Heel starting to have energy, and bring the heel but not the toes back, and then bring the toes back. I don't know if I explained that very well. Now I feel this all the way down my calf muscle. Let's try to do some circles with the foot. And back the other direction, opposite direction with the feet, circles. Let's pedal back and forth. So one is forward while the other is back and vice versa. And you can be doing this as part of your inversion. So think how many breaths you can get in while you're still working your feet and your ankles. Now just relax. Relax your shoulders. Breathe. I maybe wasn't breathing as much as I could be when I was focusing on my feet. Just breathe. Bring your knees together, your feet together, point. And while you're pointing, bring the tailbone more solidly into the ground. You feel that? One more breath. Do a really big one. Let's do one more really big full breath. Then bring your knees to your chest one more time. Feel that child's pose, reverse child's pose. And like we started, let's let the knees drop to one side, the shoulders on the ground. One more big breath. Take a full breath. Inhale your knees up towards the center. And then let them drop to the opposite side. Big breath. All right, if you're ready to bring your knees back to the center, pull them in one more time. Let's do a happy baby while we're down here. Hands are on the outsides of the feet. knees separate and they're kind of heading towards the ground on the outsides, on the outside of your body. So it's a bent leg position, and then you're trying to take the tailbone towards the ground. So think of a little arch in the lower back, so a little bit of a cow back in the lower back. One more big breath. Bring your knees back together, roll into your side, push up, and a chaturanga. Rainbow forward onto your knees. This has been honestly more a vinyasa type class than an Ashtanga class. So if you have not had vinyasa, this is kind of how it would be. We're taking different poses, we're talking them through, and hopefully it's been really helpful to you. So let's go into our closing. I'm not even sure what time it is. Maybe Adrian had to duck out a while ago, or maybe, I don't know, I have no idea. I'm not good with time. Oh yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Adrian may be done. So go ahead and do your final 3 closings and do your Shavasana. And I would love to hear from you guys to know how your practice was today. That was pretty different from what we usually do. So namaste, internal namaste, as you go through your closing and enter into your day. Love you guys. Have a good day.